What's up, guys? This is Brian Cage, this is Wolverine, the F Machine, Mr. GMSI himself, and you're listening to Mitch Please, the number one scumbag on the planet.
Underneath it all, it's just a silly man trying to understand who the fuck I am on this U.S. land. I let my hair grow, then I cut it off. Put a couple lines in it, cause you know I'm never coming soft. I do a lot of shows and I get a lot of stares. I got a lot of haters, but really who cares?
Welcome to episode 21 of Mitch Please. Thank you very much for giving us a click. And I'm a little bit sick this time, guys. I was bragging how I hadn't been sick in like a year. And feels like I got a little sinus issue going on. Also wanted to update you guys on my shoulder. You guys remember early episodes of Mitch Please, I'm having freaking anxiety attacks on here about my shoulder and about surgery and everything. And, you know, it's been about 4 months since surgery. There's still pain in my shoulder. It's been a struggle. We're going on, almost a year and a half total of the struggle of the shoulder. At the end of April, they're going to take the metal out of my shoulder, and hopefully, another month or so, I'll be feeling good as new. So that's your update there. And I also want to thank everybody that supported Pro Championship Entertainment stand-up comedy at Shenanigans back on February 17th. It was freaking awesome. Couldn't have been happier with everybody involved. Eve Hamilton, Jason Allen, Scott Powers, Sydney Hupp, Don Ashby, Zack, Reeb, and Mark Leathers. A lot of people say, oh, you booked way too many comedians and this and that. But you know what? I did it my way, and my way was a great way. We sold the place out. The bar couldn't be happier. We'll be back on April 7th. I'll have more information on that after our interview here. We've got Royce Isaacs coming up, guys. Royce Isaacs, a guy from Denver, Colorado. He's been pretty much like around the world. I mean, the guy's wrestled in Japan. He came over to Pro Championship Wrestling. I knew I had to hear his story. So that's going to be coming up here in just a minute. I want to go ahead and thank everybody again for always spreading the love, always spreading the word with what I have going on. This Pro Championship Entertainment thing is going to take off. We're doing big things, as my uncle used to say. Actually, he still says that. We're doing big things, bro. Bro, you can't hide from the cops. You just gotta keep running, bro. But anyways, but seriously, guys, everybody that's checking out the Pro Championship Entertainment Facebook page, liking it, sharing it, inviting your friends, following us on Twitter at PCE since 2015. Of course, following me on Twitter at HeartbreakerMV. And, of course, supporting this show right here, Mitch Please. We're coming up on 1 year. April 24th will be 1 year. I can't freaking believe it, man. We've done a lot. This show has been just a awesome thing for me. I gotta update my vocabulary here. I feel like I say awesome and fantastic a little too much. So I'm gonna bust out the old thesaurus and learn some new words for you guys. And I want to do more things on this show for you. We had the Roos come on and talk about some Star Wars. I definitely want to talk about the world of wrestling, and kind of, give you guys some of my thoughts on, what they're doing for WrestleMania this year. It looks to me, and everyone's going to argue about everything, but, Brock Lesnar versus Goldberg is probably going to be your main event. And the deal is this, they're both part-timers. Yeah, they're not going to be there, and they work limited schedules and this and that. And Goldberg might be done here pretty soon. And I don't know what's up with Lesnar, because I remember Lesnar signed a 2-year contract back in 2015. There was a big deal, and I believe it was a 2-year contract. So, here we are 2 years later. What's the deal on Brock? I know he's done with MMA. It looks like, he's pushing 40. And then Goldberg's pushing 50. And I do see Goldberg defeating Kevin Owens for the championship and going on to main event WrestleMania against Lesnar, and having Lesnar beat Goldberg. He's got to get his receipt. You know, Goldberg has been basically a monster against Brock, and I think you have to have Brock get his receipt. Now, something that I thought would be interesting here, if you do go with Brock versus Goldberg in the main event of WrestleMania, which when you're trying to fill a 80,000 seat arena, you know, you got to put your stars up there. That's what you got to do. You know, the hardcore fans are going to buy their tickets. They're going to be there regardless. But if you want to, you know, make sure you get that big publicity push, you know, Goldberg's the guy. Brock Lesnar's the guy. You know, those guys are megastars. So I have no problem with that being the WrestleMania main event. But here's what I would do. You know, I'm a big Samoa Joe fan. And he's recently been back. And I think it's awesome. But not recently been back. He recently debuted on Raw, you know, coming from NXT. And just love it. He's kind of Triple H's lackey in this and that. And, you know, when it comes to Goldberg and Lesnar, they're not really... neither one of them are corporate guys. They do their own thing. You know, Lesnar's got Heyman, and Goldberg's a clear babyface. Lesnar's kind of been a tweener for a couple of years, but... what I would do is I'd have Lesnar beat Goldberg, and then I would have Samoa Joe, you know, actually I have Triple H or whatever, whoever, Stephanie, it doesn't matter, come out and say, congratulations, Brock, but now you're defending your championship right now. And you have Samoa Joe choke out Brock Lesnar from behind and end WrestleMania with Samoa Joe as the, you know, WWE Universal Champion, and make that his big moment, because that's how you create a buzz right there. You got Brock and Goldberg, the two mega stars, and then you throw in Samoa Joe. You know, you have Brock get his receipt, and Brock stands tall, and then you throw in Samoa Joe at the end to kind of come out of nowhere. And, you know, Samoa Joe's not a young guy. He's probably 35 years old, but, you know, and if they're going to do something with him, they need to do it now. And if you have Joe beat Brock, and now Joe shows up on Raw the next night, and he's the champion, you know, you can push towards Brock and Joe in a big match at SummerSlam. And then also another great thing going on is the Kevin Owens, Chris Jericho stuff. And, you know, Chris Jericho is still the United States champion. People seem to forget that. And with Kevin Owens, you know, probably losing to Goldberg and probably going on to wrestle Jericho, you have Jericho versus Owens for the United States Championship, and you have Owens go over, and now you got this group, you know, with Triple H at the helm, with Samoa Joe as the champion, the Universal Champion, and Kevin Owens as the United States Champion. I think that could be a big money deal if they go that route. So time will tell. And then, you know, over on the SmackDown side, you know, again, guys, I've told you I don't really watch Raw and SmackDown. I kind of just watch the highlights on YouTube. I mean, I'm just bored. You know, sometimes I'll catch a SmackDown. SmackDown's been more enjoyable than Raw for me. But I caught the highlights of what they're doing with Orton and Wyatt, and Orton, you know, on a 5-minute monologue, and then burning down the Wyatt compound, and, you know, AJ Styles beats Harper, and, you know, I thought they were going to go Orton, Wyatt, Harper in a 3-way, and now they could probably go Orton, Wyatt, Styles in a 3-way, or just totally screw over AJ Styles and put him with Shane McMahon, which has been the rumors, and just do Orton, Wyatt in a singles. Either way, I don't know. I'm not too sold on Shane McMahon versus AJ Styles. I don't see how that's going to help AJ. Even AJ, you know, AJ's got to go over. But even if he does, it's like, well, okay, you know, big deal. You know, Shane McMahon hasn't won a match in 15 years, you know, so it's like, yeah, so I don't know what they're doing on the SmackDown side. I would have much rather just seen, honestly, you could have just done Cena and AJ again. I mean, those guys have amazing chemistry, but I do like where they're going with Cena and Nikki against Miz and Maurice. I think that's something different, something very, very different for Cena, especially at WrestleMania, to be in a mixed tag. And again, I don't know who it's going to get over. You know, I'm sure you're going to have Cena and Nikki go over it, and maybe it's Nikki's last match, and maybe that's why they're doing it. I don't know. And then, of course, there's Undertaker, there's Braun Strowman, there's Roman Reigns, possibly Seth Rollins versus Triple H looks like that's going to happen. and perhaps next time on Mitch Please, I'll go into a full breakdown of what they're doing for WrestleMania. But I just can't believe WrestleMania is almost already around the corner. It's just like, man, I feel like I was just there 2 years ago, sitting in the 10th row with Donovan Troi, screaming like a little girl when The Rock came out. So time is flying by as we get older, guys. There's no doubt about it. And again, I know I kind of went off on a rant there, but I do want to thank everybody for of course, liking this Mitch Please Facebook page, for subscribing to my YouTube channel, youtube.com/TheMitchValentine. All right, that's how you can see every episode of Mitch Please. You can see my wrestling matches, some old wrestling promos, stand-up comedy. There's even Thumb WrestleMania, only at youtube.com/TheMitchValentine. So, all right, guys, I'm going to get into some upcoming stuff with Pro Championship Wrestling and talk more about the next Pro Championship Entertainment event. But first, let's cut over to my interview with Royce Isaacs. We are out here in the brisk and breezy Oroville, California, right outside the Oroville Municipal Auditorium, getting ready for another big Pro Championship Wrestling event. I'd like to welcome into the show right now, from Denver, Colorado, the one and only Royce Isaacs, man. Welcome to Mitch Please.
Thank you for having me, Mitch. What's up, man? It's Royce Isaacs, baby.
Yeah, man. I got a chance to meet you on my birthday, man. The first day I met you was on my birthday, last PCW show in December 17th at the Work Farm Wars. Yeah, you wrestled Mike Shupe, but you also came into Pro Championship Wrestling and wrestled Levi Shapiro. You've been all around Northern California. I want to talk about that, but I want to talk about the beginnings, man. Where did you grow up at?
I was born in Meriden, Connecticut. I moved out to Colorado when I was 8, and I haven't really looked back since. I did spend some time. I went to college at Cornell College in Mount Vernon, Iowa. A lovely little town, but Denver's where I've been at, I guess, for the past 18, 19 years now, man. I love that place. 300 days of sunshine. It's the best.
Yeah, man. High atmosphere, right? It's hard to breathe if you're not used to the atmosphere. But let me ask you this, man. What got you interested in professional wrestling?
I mean, ever since I was a kid, man. Ever since I was a kid, like, I think that's most people that wrestle, but, it was me and my dad. That was our bonding thing, was always, we watched wrestling together. I was doing stupid-ass spinneroonies in my living room, little chubby Royce Isaacs with the 8-pound inflatable weights, trying to get big and swole and all that. So it was just something that I always loved, and then, you do athletics all your life. You're always like an athlete, from the time I was like 7 or 8 years old on. Actually, even probably before that, when I was like 5 or 6 on, and then all of a sudden, you're out in the real world, you're working a real job, and that sucks. And I was like, I miss athletics. I know I still have something athletically to offer this world, and little did I know, it was going to turn out like this, and pro wrestling was going to be the thing. But that was something I always had my eye on, something that I wanted to do. I just had to find where the school was at, where the shows were at,
Yeah, man, you got a great build, and you're a very good athlete. You can see by the work in the ring. Who were some of your favorite, wrestlers or entertainers growing up, man? Who were some of the guys you looked up? You said Booker T and the Spinneroony.
Dude, who doesn't love Booker? My thing, I grew up in the Attitude Era, so all of the, as a kid, you're into the top guys, it's, Stone Cold and The Rock, Mankind, of course, Triple H, Kane, Undertaker. If you couldn't tell, I was more of a WWE guy, but obviously WCW was definitely awesome too, Ric Flair, Booker T. I've become, as an adult, a huge Scott Steiner mark. I think Scott Steiner is the most entertaining human being of all time. If you don't know what I'm talking about, YouTube Steiner Mania right now, and you'll be entertained for like the next 45 minutes. It's absolutely amazing.
Oh yeah, he's great, man. Yeah, no, I started watching around the similar time, so seems like guys that were super entertaining, good on the mic and could perform in the ring. Those are the kind of guys you liked. When was it where you just came through your head that, like, I got to do this? Well, first of all, you're talking about athletics, man, football, all that stuff. You played some college ball?
Yeah, I played football and I wrestled in college. So I was at D3 at Cornell College, and I did football and wrestling. So double duty. It was a trudge, my friend. Let me tell you.
Yeah, and that's what WWE loves, man, is people that have done college athletics and at that level. So were you basically, what happened with the college football, man?
I'll put it this way. This was in a what you'd call a past life. I was 293 pounds at my heaviest. At 6 foot tall and 293, I was pretty much a bowling ball. And so I was a pulling guard. The thing is with football, I loved it, but I knew I didn't really have a future after college being a D3 offensive lineman at 6 foot. Like, that wasn't going to translate to even, like, lower level arena. I just didn't have the height and the long arms for that. Hindsight's always 20/20. If I could go back, I would go back with, like, the kind of body I have now, and I would be, like, a linebacker or a fullback or something like that would be a lot more appropriate. But right then, I had an extra 60 pounds on my frame, and I was like, how can we put that to use? Well, you make that bowling ball into a wrecking ball and throw them against some defensive tackles, and it seemed to work out pretty well.
Yeah, man. All right. So did you guys win any championships, or what was what were some of your accolades in football, man?
Probably the opposite of championships, man. Cornell was an amazing school to get an education. At the time, we were in a slump with football. I got to start from my sophomore year on. I played every game. I started every game, but we got beat up a lot. Honestly, we had a hell of a wrestling team, and I did well for there. I was able to start for 1 year as the heavyweight. And I had a blast with college athletics, but no, we were not winning any championships, unfortunately. A little different from how it is now with the pro wrestling, the one-on-one thing.
There you go, man. And then let's talk about it. So you're playing college football, you're doing college wrestling, perfect lead-in to professional wrestling. What got you started? Where'd you start training?
Well, after college, I was like, I need to get, I miss athletics. Like I said, you're just in the real world doing actual life, which sucks, man.
For real.
And I was jonesing. I was looking for schools. At the time, Colorado's scene was so small, and there'd been a lot of turnover from old promotions. So everything I found was like some old defunct, no longer running. I was actually legitimately thinking about packing up my bags and like moving across the country just to find a wrestling school because I couldn't find anything around Colorado. One of my best friends, Gabriel, his girlfriend, found a poster for a local show. Just randomly was walking to the supermarket and found this poster. Said, "Hey, you and your boy Royce would love this. You should go to this." It was called Lucha Libre and Laughs, which still runs in Denver, Colorado. I went to the show. It was absolutely phenomenal. I was like, the wrestling itself back then, a couple years ago, it was about 3 years ago now.
Okay.
Awful, god awful. But I think anyone there would admit it that at that time it was not up to snuff. But it was such a fun atmosphere, such a fun environment, and Lucha Libre and Laughs really puts on an amazing show because they have stand-up comedians and wrestling back to back. It's almost like a Lucha Vavoom kind of thing. Yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah, man. And so legitimately, I went to this show. Immediately afterwards, I accosted the promoter and I go, "Man, where can I get in on this? Like, I need to be a part of this." And I started training at the Butcher Shop, which was like for a while associated with JCW. I was training under Lonnie Valdez and Joey Terrifying in Denver. I now train at the Mercury Pro Wrestling Academy in Golden, but for the first couple years, that's where I was at, and that's kind of where I learned to apply my trade in pro wrestling, so to speak. So. Basically a fluke accident. My friend's girlfriend found the place.
How did it feel taking those first couple bumps?
I went into my first pro wrestling training and I thought to myself, well, this will be cool, and maybe I can do some local shows and win a championship or two locally, regionally, do something fun like that. And by the time I was done with my first practice, I thought, how far can I take this thing? Like, how can I make this my job? How can I make this the only thing I do, man? It was an instant, like, this is what I should have been doing this whole time. I also felt very sore, very, very tired and very sore and very beat up, but it was in the best way, absolutely.
So it came pretty naturally to you, man, because you're an athlete, you know what I mean? You're a big guy. How long were you training for before you had your first match?
Oh, man. So, my first day of training, I'm getting this lecture about, you're going to have, a million practice matches, you're going to be training for 6 months, and then maybe we'll think about, maybe just then you can get, on the opener of the card, whatever. I think I was training for less than 2 months, and they go, "Hey, by the way, we have a show next week, you're on." And I was like, "Oh, okay, well, that just happened."
How'd it go? First match, what kind of gear did you have, bro? Did you have your gear ready to go? And how did it go that first time out?
I think I had I had to borrow kick pads, which I mean, the guy like me, I shouldn't be wearing kick pads anyways. I had to borrow someone's kick pads. I had like some girls' volleyball trunks that like double XL, like the big women's trunks, and I'm like still like a sausage in there, man, some blue ones. And God, and then just a bunch of tape, just taping my entire arms, both of my arms, basically. We're wrestling in this. It's called Fuego, Club Fuego, and I'm not super tall. I'm tall, but I'm not super tall. And I get on the second rope. I'm not in boots. I'm in shooter shoes and kick pads. And my head touches the ceiling, like violently, like I spike myself upwards, and I'm like, oh my God. So, you can't do any suplexes, you can't do anything in this place. It's so small, it's such a short little, but for what it was, we had a 4-on-4 tag match, and it turned out just fine.
There you go, man. And it's so hard to get wrestling gear, it seems like. That's like one of the hardest things to do nowadays is there's only a couple people that have it. So I can only imagine your first match, last second, scrambling to get gear. Right. So you were 293 pounds, man. What point did you drop all that weight? Was it during wrestling, before?
It was actually, senior year, I got done with football. And at that point, I had kind of realized, I had blown up because I was always a lineman, and I needed to keep that, I put on a bunch of weight my freshman year because I'm like, I want to be an offensive lineman, and you need to be big to be an offensive lineman in the Iowa Conference. So
freshman year in college.
Freshman year in college,
Gotcha.
I came in about 230, 240, and I got all the way up to 285 by the end of my freshman year. So I put on 45 pounds, and obviously a lot of it was fat, but you just need size. You're like a big, like power lifter, like. You just need mass to be able to move against a D lineman or whatever. And so my senior year, at that point, there's a lot of stress on my joints. I would do conditioning and have to lay down and get stretched out because my back would be so tight from supporting all my weight. I was over it, and I got a degree in kinesiology, and it was like, okay, well, you know what? Why don't I put this degree to use? Why don't I put these nutrition classes and this physiology I've been taking to use? And, by the time I graduated, I was about what I weigh now, which is 220. Nice. I looked a little bit different. I was definitely not, I'm more cut up now. I'm a little bit bigger now, muscle-wise and all that. But at least I resembled the human being that I am today.
Yeah, man. No, I feel you. I put on 50 pounds since I stopped wrestling about a year ago. And that's just all pizza right there. But, I'm sure it's all diet, right? Like 80% diet.
Yeah, man, made in the kitchen, brother. Made in the kitchen for sure.
And what would you recommend, man, for dropping weight? Would you say go low carb or just low fat? Just everything, low calorie? What's the secret, bro?
Here's my thing. I don't think any one diet or one lifestyle works for anyone, so you have to find what works for you. If you can do low carb, then great, by all means do low carb. Low carb has some amazing results, but like someone like me, I can't do that. It just doesn't compute with my body. So I just try to keep fats fairly low. If I do have fats, I have healthy fats. A lot of chicken and rice, a lot of lean ground beef and rice. I'll get like the 96.4 ground beef, put that with rice because to me that's a little more tasty than I get tired of chicken after a while. Count all your calories. Make sure you do all the cardio. Make sure you do all the lifts. The thing is, not everyone. This is just like anything in life, or a good example would be with wrestling. Like if everyone was just a power guy, wrestling would be really boring if you didn't have any high flyers, if you didn't have any technical guys, if you didn't have any guys that were had big charisma and personality and whatever. You need everyone is different. Everything it's different for everyone. So if you can do the low carb thing, by all means you'll shed fat like crazy. But if it's just a matter of maybe you need to be doing you're eating 4,000 calories a day and you need to just be eating 2,500. It doesn't matter if it's fat, carbs, protein. Maybe that's what it is. I am a big believer in tracking your macronutrients. I'm a big believer in every day it being a grind, and I'm a big believer in just hard work makes it happen. So I guess to give you the long and short of it, I don't know what the best diet is, but the best diet is the one that works for you. That's what's up.
That's an honest answer, man. No doubt. And going back to wrestling, man, where did you say you were training at for your first couple years?
The Butcher Shop, man.
The Butcher Shop, man. So you were training there. You first 2 months in, you have your first match in the volleyball shorts, and
booty shorts, baby.
Booty shorts, man. Taped up, and then how often were you working after that?
I tried to jump into it as soon as I could. I was very lucky that I came into it with the right mindset of wanting to travel as much as I can, want to get as many matches as possible. I was probably only working, 3 or 4 matches a month when I first started, just because that was I had to get booked, and a lot of people, it was like I would have to just show up and, ring crew, all that, humble myself and get myself over before I would actually even get booked or whatever. But I was also pretty lucky that my trainer Lonnie was also putting out a good word for people, so I got on pretty quick, and I started doing little travel here and there to Amarillo or Utah or whatever fairly soon into my wrestling. And then I guess in this last year or so I've been able to keep up with in my most months I can get anywhere from 10 to 12 matches a month. If I can do even more than that, like that's where I'm happy. The more I can keep wrestling, the better I get, the better I do, the more experience I get in front of a live audience. I feel good about it. So yeah, when I first started out, I was probably only doing 3-4 matches a month, but I mean, that was my thing. I didn't want to be a guy that just does a match, every month or every couple months. Like, I knew that I had to get out in front of people and actually try stuff out if I was going to ever get better, honestly.
Yeah, that's a good attitude, man. And recently you've been associated with Rocky Mountain Pro Wrestling, right? Ran by Vince Russo. I think that's a pretty well-known deal right now. I know for me, like we were talking about that last time you were in town. But before we get to that, what were some of your favorite experiences or matches that you had those first couple years?
Oh man, I mean, just stuff like going out to Utah and getting to meet some of those boys out there, like Martin Casillas, Marty the Moth.
I love Marty the Moth.
Yeah, man, he's the best.
Oh man, yes. Yeah, no, I got to work with him one night in Reno, man. Main event in Reno, right before WrestleMania. We had a great time. I love that guy. I got to hang out with him afterwards.
Yes.
Who else, bro? Who else did you get a chance to work with?
Oh, I mean, going around, I got to go do this Vegas loop. I got in with Paragon Pro Wrestling in Las Vegas.
Nice.
And I got to work with, just the cream of the crop of some of the indies. Jesse Sorensen, I think, was my first match there. He was my first match there because he's the one that, if anyone checks out my forehead, I have a wide scar, and that's from that young boy's elbow. He bloodied me up, but it was a blast.
Now, he jacked his neck up real bad in TNA, right? How's he doing?
He's doing great now. I believe he's playing arena football as well as wrestling.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, he's killing it. Like, that guy's a super athlete. He can go all day. While I was in Vegas, I got to work with James Rude Boy Riley. He's a New York guy. Indie up-and-comer. Like, that guy's going to be a guy very soon here. If you don't know who he is, definitely check him out. I got to wrestle with people like that. I got to wrestle with Gangrel in Vegas.
Yeah.
Like, that's, I got to wrestle him maybe, almost a dozen times.
Oh,
like,
nice.
Yeah, Gangrel's great, man. That guy can still go, man.
Oh, no doubt about it, man. I've seen him. I've been on shows with him, and yeah, he's amazing. Seems like you're doing it the right way, bro. You're traveling around, meeting all these people, just trying to get as many matches under your belt as you can and learn as much as you can, which brings us to Rocky Mountain Pro Wrestling and the Vince Russo thing, man. How did that come about?
I guess I was just kind of lucky because I was already a part of Rocky Mountain Pro. I had started training there when the butcher shop disbanded, and one day they called a meeting, and I'm like, I wonder what all this is about. And it was like, hey, Vince Russo's on board with us. So from then it was like, all right, bet. He's he can coach a promo out of a twig, I think. You know what I mean? It was pretty cool to work with someone that was writing for some of your favorite wrestlers growing up. And, I've gotten some pretty darn cool opportunities lately. The thing is, back in October, I got to go out to DDT Pro in Tokyo, Japan, and that was a lot of people, go, oh, how do you get out to Japan? How do you get to Japan? Well, I hit them up. You know what I mean? Like, you just have to ask for it. And so I've gotten some pretty cool opportunities, be it out here in Vegas, Japan, and then just like having back home, having something going on there with Rocky Mountain Pro has been pretty cool. So I'm doing the loop. I'm getting around there, man. I'm getting out there.
Hell yeah, bro. And you came out here to Northern California. You've been working for SPW. You're booked there. Pro Championship Wrestling. What other promotions out here have you got a chance to work?
I'm doing SPW and PCW this weekend. I'm actually super excited. Tonight I get to wrestle Mr. Primetime, Zack Reeb. That'll be a good one. Tomorrow I'm getting to wrestle Jeff Cobb, so I'm super pumped about wrestling that guy. I mean, he's doing his damn thing on the indies right now, so that's a very exciting one for me. I got to work Stockton Con this year, so that was a fun little extra gimmick. And I've been doing SenCal. Actually, my hookup for California in the first place was I got to work Sledge, who runs SenCal. I worked him back in Colorado, and I was just like, man, I got to get out to California. Like, I need to make that a thing. And he goes, well, you're at least booked at one place. You're booked at Sencon. I was like, all right, man. And from there, I made the connection through him with Rick Luxury. And, I met Rick at Cauliflower Alley. Rick took me in, I first came out in August and kind of helped me out and took me around town. So I've been able to make some really cool, good connections just based off of that one connection with Sledge. And now I'm, hopefully I really want to keep coming back to California. At least, the more times in a year that I can come back here, the better for me, honestly. So hopefully I've been here the last month and this month. Hopefully I can get out here at least a few more times this year.
Hell yeah, bro. We're glad to have you out here, man. And best of luck with prime time here at the Oroville Municipal Auditorium. The guy doesn't ever get pinned here at the Municipal. I beat him one night, but I cheated. I had help with Rick Luxury and stuff. But so best of luck with everything you're doing, bro. And one more question for you.
Yes.
What are the future goals in pro? What do you want to do, man? What are some of the goals and things that you want to do that you're working towards right now?
I mean, for me, man, I'm going back to Tokyo in March. Awesome. The end of March, I'll be there for 2 months. That's my focus right now. My biggest thing is how can I maximize that experience. I had a blast the first time I was out there. I learned a ton the first time I was out there. Now I'm going to be out there for a lot longer. I'm going to get to go in the dojo. I'm going to get to, train. I'm going to hopefully get to do, at least, 10, 12 shows, something like that. We'll see. Shout out to DDT once again for that. And so right now that's my big focus. Like the way I can maximize that experience, the way I can, parlay that into something back stateside, the way I can, I want to hopefully do at least 2 tours this year. We'll see how that can work out. Got to get past this first one first. But I mean, I'm just like anyone else out here on this indie scene. I want to make a name for myself. I want to make Royce Isaacs a brand. I want to make Royce Isaacs a household name. So any means, possible. That's the plan, man.
And how old are you, bro?
I am 27. I will be 28 next month. So,
Oh, you're young, bro. You're young. You're hungry. You got the look, man. It seems like you got the right ideas in your head about what you're doing, bro. So I wish you the best of luck, man. Where can people find more out about Royce Isaacs on social media?
All right. Well, the Facebook is Royce Isaacs. I got the fan page and everything. Instagram's probably my favorite kind of social media, at Royce Isaacs. If you like, wrestling, if you like cute puppies, it's probably the page for you. I am on Twitter at Royce Isaacs. So, those are the main avenues to follow me. I also have a Wix page. If you look up Royce Isaacs online, you can find my website. It has all my bookings, all that kind of stuff. It has some merch on there, all that kind of stuff. Hit me up. If you want to email me, if you're a promoter and you want to book me, RoyceIsaacs111@gmail.com. And I'm happy to respond to any and all serious inquiries, so holler at me.
Hell yeah, Royce Isaacs. Keep kicking ass, bro, and thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you so much, Mitch. It's been a blast, brother.
So there you have it. Big shout out to Royce Isaacs. Make sure you guys follow him and keep up with him and everything he's got going on. And also a big shout out to Superstar Productions. My boy Mike Shupe doing it big. He's been doing a lot of graphic work for Pro Championship Entertainment. He's been doing all these great custom graphics here for Mitch Please. He can create logos, which he did for Pro Championship Entertainment. Check that out. And he can, like I said, he can create custom videos, put together a highlight reel for you, anything you'd like, a commercial. Also has the ability to take professional pictures, over there at Superstar Photography, able to do that for you, edit up anything on that little laptop of his. Much love to Mike Shupe, of course, the only 3-time Mitch Pleaser, and I look forward to getting him back on the show, and maybe one day we'll actually sit down with him for 45 minutes and really break down his story. I want to build it up, though, guys. I'm going to build that up. Maybe we'll do it on the 1-year anniversary, or maybe we'll wait till episode 50 on the 2-year anniversary. I don't know. I like making him wait. I know he's wanting to tell his story, and he's got a great story to tell, and much love to Mike Shupe. So make sure you guys hit him up if you need anything at all, and tell him Mitch sent you. Will ya? All right. And March 2017 is shaping up here. Looking at my Star Wars calendar, I got C-3PO waving at me. And the big deal is this Sunday, Pro Championship Wrestling, Work Farm Wars, is going down, of course, in Oroville, 2305A Veach Street at the infamous PCW Work Farm. It's going to be the First time we've seen the new PCW heavyweight wrestling champion, the bad boy, Boyce LeGrand, and his little lackey, Lucian Delight. We're going to find out what's going on with them. And, of course, what's going on with Sin, because you know he's pissed off, and you can only imagine what's going to happen there. You've got Rick Luxury and Will Roberts defending their PCW Tag Team Championships against Salt and Pimpin', which is Virgil Flynn and D-Torch. And your main event's looking to be Karl Fredricks, the big effing deal, defending his PCW Inter-California Championship against the War Pig Jody Kristofferson. Also, guys, some exciting news for Mitch Please. We're going to be doing our first ever live edition of Mitch Please at PCW Work Farm Wars this Sunday, March 5th. And I'm going to get in there with the Skye brothers, Aaron Skye, Christian Skye. I'm going to find out what's going on. You know, last man standing, you saw Christian Skye basically turn his back and punch his brother, Aaron Skye, in the face and kind of beat him down a little bit. And then there was some more animosity later on in the night during the Rumble. So, I mean, we're going to find out what's going on with that. And then 2 weeks later, actually less than 2 weeks later, Pro Championship Wrestling will be back for another edition of Work Farm Wars on March 18th. So make sure you guys check that out. I'll be, of course, doing big things, bro, at both those shows. There's going to be a huge surprise starting this Sunday, March 5th, about my new role, and I don't want to spoil it here on the show. I want you to be there live and experience it. So, you know, you can watch it on YouTube and this and that, but there's no better feeling than being there live in that building and witnessing all the action and all the excitement go down. So there are limited tickets available for both events, of course, March 5th and March 18th. And you guys can get your tickets from me. You can get your tickets through Pro Championship Wrestling. However you do it, just get those dang tickets and come support local entertainment. That's what I'm all about. You know, the catchphrase for a lot of things I have going on, whether it be Got Mitch Marketing or Pro Championship Entertainment, it's, you know, make dreams happen. And we can't do it alone. You know, we all have dreams, we all have things that we're trying to achieve, and we need your help. We need you there. I need you there to support. And, you know, it's not about just supporting local entertainment and dishing out $5 or $10 or $15 or $20. It's about just being there and experience that and sharing that moment with all of us. It's our moment. If you're there, if you're in the crowd, you're a part of this thing. So all I can say is support local entertainment, guys. And another group of dream chasers I want to shout out, of course, is the House Cats. I never want to forget about them. You know, Robyn, Valentine, and Bill Teague doing it up in my hometown of Paradise, California. Of course, the House Cats are basically family, and they're doing it up every Wednesday night at the Italian Garden from 6 to 9. You don't want to miss that, guy. If you get a chance to go check that out, have a nice dinner, have a drink, and listen to some amazing music and some comedy too. You know, Robyn Valentine, of course, my mother, the lead singer for the House Cats. She's been known to do quite a bit of stand-up comedy herself. And speaking of stand-up comedy, guys, Pro Championship Entertainment will be back on April 7th. I've got one of my really good friends over the years who's basically made a big name for himself in the comedy world, traveling all around the world. The one and only Drake Nelson is going to be headlining the event on April 7th at Shenanigans, and I cannot freaking wait. So a lot of stuff going on, and again, I just encourage you guys to support that local entertainment, to help make those dreams happen and be a part of history and memories that will be cherished forever. All right. You've been listening to Mitch Please, and thank you.